Today it's going to be a tier ranking for how likely the Dems are to win each governor's seat in 26 if it were a blue wave. I did this a few months ago for the Senate, today it's for the governor. And this assumes it's a moderate blue wave, nothing gigantic, but something where the Dems are going to have a lot of success. We don't know what it's going to be just yet, but it looks like it's going to be closer to that direction than not. Maybe similar back to 2018. Back then, Dems did have a lot of success for governor. So I've got tiers A, B, C, D, and F. Again, I'm not a big fan of an S tier or a Z tier, but the A tier is going to be an absolute easy win, totally in the bag for the Dems in a blue wave. If it's on the bottom in the F tier, that means even in a blue wave, it's still very unlikely to flip. Now, nobody's going to agree on all the tiers. There's going to be some states grouped up with others, but you've got to try to use your imagination and be consistent. One other thing is a lot of this is dependent on the actual candidates and the nominees. Still way too early for that. Maybe in the summer we could come back to this. Usually some people always freak out in the comments, but you're going to do it the way you think is best. Now, let's start in Alabama. Would this state flip in a blue wave? I don't think so. But remember, governor is different than the Senate or president. Usually that gives the minority political party an opportunity to make a gain. We've seen it in red and blue states across the country over the past decade. It's not common, but it's not unheard of. And in this state, it could be Tommy Tuberville against Doug Jones. They already faced off in the Senate back in Trump's first term. But speaking of Trump, because he's in office, that's likely to give Dems more motivation. We've seen it in 25, we've seen it in special elections. So I would not say it's completely unreasonable to think this state could flip. I do think it's unlikely, it's not going to be high up, but I think there's enough here to put this in D instead of F. Next, Alaska. This is always a quirky state. They've got a top 4 primary, they've got ranked choice voting, and like many of these states, it's an open seat. The Dems have a chance to flip this depending on what happens. So in a blue wave, I think this one kind of falls between C and D for me, but I'll settle on putting it into the C. Next, Arizona. This already has Democrat Katie Hobbs as governor. In a blue wave environment, do I think she would hold on? Yeah, of course. Even though Trump won the state by more than 5 points, they might be comfortable with the divided government dynamic in this state. I already think Hobbs is slightly favored in this type of environment. I think it's going to go up. I think it would be kind of likely Hobbs holds on. We're going to put that in B. How about in Arkansas? This one should not be an open seat. Dems have minimal bench here, if any. Anything could happen, but for now, I would be stunned if this state flipped. That's going to go in F. Then we come to the blue states, California. That would be an easy win, a total layup if that went blue. Colorado is going to be the same thing. Blue state, just like Connecticut. Now, they have had some competitive elections here for governor, so you could make a case for B, but a blue wave, I think this would still be pretty easy. Now, what about Florida? We all know the state has gotten super red. It's an open seat. DeSantis is out. I think it is pretty unlikely the state would flip, but does it get all the way down to the bottom? For me, I'm usually a little bit more cautious than some people, so I'm going to actually put this into the low D tier. Now, Georgia is a different story. This is not the red state it used to be. Dems have made gains in the suburbs. They've won some elections recently. So if you want my honest opinion, if this state went blue as of right now, I would actually not be too shocked. It's not a guaranteed flip, but I think it would be closer to that than no chance. It's borderline CB, but I'm going to put that into B. Hawaii, of course, that goes way at the top. Idaho is going to go way at the bottom. Again, anything could happen, but it's unreasonable for me to take that out of F. Illinois, blue state, another one at the top in A. Now in Iowa, this is a state that was very competitive back in 18. Polling showed Dems had a real chance at winning it. So I think it could flip, but it won't be easy for the Dems, even in a blue wave. Maybe it looks more and more likely in 6 or 7 months, but for now I want to put this in the middle in C. Kansas currently has a Democratic governor, but this is a pretty red state. So given Dems just put in 2 terms here for governor, it's clearly possible they can pull out a win here. But I think after Laura Kelly is out, the state is more likely to flip than not. But maybe Dems end up holding on. I'm going to put this in the D tier. Maine is going to go in A at the top. Maryland, same thing, just like Massachusetts, way, way at the top. Michigan is another tricky one because it's technically a 3-way race as of right now. Usually independent candidates start to fizzle out as the election gets closer. So it's kind of tough to rate this one. I should put this into B tier, but then again, maybe it should go into C. I'm going to settle on putting it into B. Then in Minnesota, another state with some interesting dynamics here with Tim Walz. Been in the news a ton lately. Who knows what's going to happen here? Republicans have a lot of questions on their side as well. But it is Minnesota. I think this would probably have to go pretty high up. We'll put that in the B tier. Nebraska, I think this is borderline DF. For now, I'm going to put this in the bottom in F. Nevada, Republicans are defending this seat with Joe Lombardo. I think he's favored, but it's definitely not overwhelming given the purple nature of the state. Kind of a tough call, but for this one, we're going to put it right in the middle of the pack. New Hampshire, 2-year terms here. Kelly Ayotte is trying to carve out a bit more of a moderate path as governor that should be able to help her in a blue wave environment. But in this scenario, all bets are off. This one is going to go in the C tier. In New Mexico, if this state went blue, I think this would be a fairly easy win for the Dems. It's borderline A, B, but I'm going to end up putting this one just at the top. Next, in New York, this one, easy call at the top. I don't think Hochul would be in any real danger if there's a blue wave. I just don't. Ohio's another one similar to Iowa. We're going to put this right in the middle in C. Oklahoma, I don't think would really get competitive at all. We're going to put that in F. Oregon, I think would easily go toward the Dems, even if it's Tina Kotek. I don't think it would be a massive landslide, but I think she would almost certainly win the state. That's going in A. Pennsylvania with Josh Shapiro. It's really tough to imagine Shapiro losing, even in a non-blue wave environment. But of course, this is a swing state. Anything could happen. But this is another borderline A-B tier. But because he's the incumbent, I'm going to end up settling on A. Let's zoom out just a bit. Now we've got Rhode Island. This one, pretty easy win for the Dems. Even if it's Dan McKee, I don't think Republicans have much going on here. But again, that is dependent on what's happening right now. Things could be different in a few months. Next, in South Carolina. This one I think is unlikely to flip, but not totally impossible. We'll throw that in D. South Dakota, that one should go on the bottom in F. Tennessee, I also don't think the Dems really have much of a chance here, even in a big blue wave. Texas, it's unlikely Abbott goes down, but I don't think completely impossible in this scenario. I'm going to put that in D. Vermont, that really all depends on if it's Phil Scott or not. If it is Scott, it's in F. If it's not Scott, then it's going to be either into B or C. So really all depends on how you want to look at it. We'll average those two out. We'll throw it in the D tier. But again, if it's Scott, I think there is no chance that flips. In Wisconsin, I think the Dems would be able to hold this, not overwhelmingly, but comfortable enough to put it into the B tier. And in Wyoming, this one, not really a chance here. It's going to go in F. That's it. Those are the tiers. Just like every tier ranking, you could easily make a case for 4 or 5 of these states that are borderline to go in one direction or the other. It all depends on how you want to think about it and what you want to emphasize. But I'm pretty good with this list for right now. I'm not totally locked in on every single one of them. I could make a couple changes, but we'll see what happens in a few months. Candidate quality is a big factor, but in a moderate blue wave, I think Dems would be able to hold probably all these governor seats, some of them easily, like Pennsylvania, even though that's considered a purple state. The only exception I think would be Kansas. Some people might freak out about Arizona or Georgia in the B tier. Maybe some people can't believe what's going on in the D tier. But that's what it's all about. Different takes for different tiers. So let me know in the comments. Do you pretty much agree with most of these rankings? How do you envision a blue wave? And which states do you think would never flip no matter what? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.